Hello, and welcome to episode 39 of the Mindful Knitter podcast. My name is Claire, and I am your host. I'm coming to you from the southeast of the United States, where I live with my two Great Danes and my new cat, Olivia. I really need to show you guys the cat because I haven't yet, and she's been around for a couple months now. She's very sweet. She's a tabby, and she is very affectionate. So she doesn't really seem to be interested in yarn, which is a good thing so far. We'll see how that continues. But if you are new, welcome. This is primarily a yarn knitting podcast and crochet. I'm wearing a crocheted jumper, so I definitely crochet too, quite a bit. But it's mostly like a yarny podcast. I talk about my finished objects, works in progress, anything upcoming. Today I have a couple of really like one other additional kind of like craft to share with you guys. It's kind of a new thing I've discovered in the last couple weeks. But if you are new, it is mostly yarn. So if you enjoy all of the yarny things, then you are probably in the right place. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I am so happy to have you hang out with me again this week. I post podcast episodes about every 2 weeks now. At least that's the schedule I'm wanting to maintain in this new year. It was my old schedule that I used to maintain, and then 2023 got a little squirrely, that I think we're back to every 2 weeks. If you want to connect with me on social media, all of the information is down in the description below, but I'll let you know my social media handles. Also, all the information that I'm sharing with you today, like designers and patterns and that sort of thing, they're also listed in the description below the video in the show notes. But if you want to connect with me on social media, I am on Instagram as the.mindfulknitter. I'm on Ravelry as a Mindful Knitter Pod, and you can always email me at clairethemindfulknitter at gmail. clairethemindfulknitter@gmail.com. I think that might be all of the introduction-y type things. So maybe we'll just get into the yarn for today. I feel like I might be a tiny bit more scattered than usual because I haven't had tons and tons to eat this morning, and my blood sugar's a little like squirrely, but I did have a little snack, so hopefully that'll help. The issue I think is I'm drinking green tea, so that has some caffeine. So I hope that I'm not too all over the place for you guys today. I don't think it'll be too bad. But I'll share my first finished object with you guys. I actually don't have quite as many projects to share with you. Well, actually, I don't have nearly as many projects to share with you as I normally do. I have one finished object, one work in progress, and one upcoming whip or probable upcoming whip. And then I'll catch you up a little bit on the other works in progress I shared with you guys last time. But we have my finished Granny Go Round jumper by Iron Lamb. I could not be more pleased. When I showed this to you guys 2 weeks ago, I still needed the sleeves, and now it is complete with sleeves. I adore it. The sleeves I actually completed in like a day or so, maybe like a day and a half or a day and a few hours, because once I got started on the sleeves, I kind of couldn't stop, and I think that I started on them on a weekend as well. So right after the podcast, I filmed it on a Saturday, uploaded it on a Sunday, or rather it went live on Sunday. It uploaded all day Saturday because it took a really long time to upload. Anyway, I started working on the sleeves after I finished the podcast on that Saturday, and then on Sunday I finished the sleeves that morning and started the weaving in the ends. Weaving in the ends took a while. I took 2 days to do it. That's not all I did in those 2 days, but like I gave myself a couple of days to do it because this is alternating. It's a new color every single round. And then of course, like on the sleeves, like every round for the sleeves as well. So there were a lot of ends to weave in. I don't know how many hours it took to weave in the ends. I'm just gonna guess at least 5 because I watched several episodes of things. No, I'm gonna say maybe up to 8 hours because I watched a few episodes of something with my husband one night, and then I watched a couple episodes of something by myself, and then I watched another couple episodes with my husband the next night. So it was a project weaving in all the ends, but very well worth it. The sweater itself only took me about a week to crochet. So like a week to crochet it, a couple days to weave in the ends. And it's like a full sweater. It's got a lot of positive ease. I don't know how many inches positive ease, maybe 6 or 7 inches of positive ease. Maybe a little more. I'm not the best at estimating that all the time. And then I've got like my mostly full length sleeves. They're kind of bracelet length, which I'm finding I really, really like. Sometimes I like full length sleeves for things, but I'm really enjoying bracelet length sleeves because I stay out of my way when I'm doing stuff, especially when I'm knitting or crocheting. If I don't have any sleeves interfering with my DPNs or just my hand movement in general, I find that that's really helping me. I've never really had bracelet length sleeves before, and now that I've made a few items that have it, I'm gonna make some more. So yeah, a full sweater in about a week and a half if you count in the end weavings. I feel like that's pretty good. So I did not mind taking the time to weave in the ends since the sweater itself was so quick to make. I find that granny stitch, like when it's just going around, I find that goes by pretty quick. Granny squares take me longer, but when it's like rounds of a granny stitch, like whether it's a shawl or like a garment or what have you, I find it goes. So let me see if I can scooch up a little. Well, I might just have to stand so you can see. I'm so close to the camera. So it hits slightly longer than where I wanted it. I wanted it not right on my hips. So if it had been just up a little more, I think that would have been absolutely perfect. So the next time I do one, I think I will omit maybe 3 rounds just to bring it up a little bit. But otherwise, it fits great. Again, I've got some good positive ease here. Here are the colors more closely so you can kind of see them. I love these colors so much. I kind of think of this as, I feel like I'm wearing a candy shop. I think it's so happy and cheerful. And I actually really like that. I probably would have enjoyed having this periwinkle all the way through. I probably really would have enjoyed that, but I do like it like this too. Like I don't really have any regrets that I didn't have more periwinkle. Like I have, like, this one's pretty close. It actually shows more purple on screen. This one's pretty close though in purple. No, it's more purple. So like, I mean, I probably could have used this one, but it's a single ply. Everything else in here was at least a 2-ply. I think, yeah, at least a 2-ply. Most of it's like a sock yarn though, or like a 3-ply DK weight kind of thing. So I didn't really want to throw a 1-ply in there or single ply in there in case it got like fuzzy. And it also wasn't a perfect color match. I really liked this bluish, more leaning indigo kind of periwinkle rather than like the purple periwinkle. So it would have thrown off the whole kind of color scheme as a whole if I'd thrown in a more purplish hue. So there are probably ways I could have worked around it, but I pulled from Stash for this, and I think I really, really like how it turned out. I did start to run out of some colors here. You can kind of see like this bright kind of fuchsia-y, magenta-y kind of color. starting to run out of it, so I held it double with like a different pink right here just to get like one more row or one more round out of it on each side, and then I ran out. There were a couple other colors that I did run out of before I finished the sleeves, but I was able to pick up some very similar scraps out of my scrap bag. So I was still able to finish everything very cohesively. In total, let me see, I kind of knit like a hybrid size, or not knit, I crocheted a hybrid size with this. The yoke, I did the size large for the yoke because I needed more room here. Like you can see, like my arm like ends there, and like the underarm of the sleeve is like right there. So like it's enough space that I don't feel it rubbing against me, which is good, because if I could, then we'd have a problem. But it is loose. It like there's still a little positive ease there, but not a whole lot, like maybe an inch. So I really needed the size large for the yoke in order to give me the depth that I needed for my like chest measurement from like, you know, shoulder to upper bust. And then like my arms, I don't have particularly small arms, so I needed more room for my arms. This upper sleeve is almost no ease at all. And then I did straight sleeves so that I've got some positive ease in the forearms. So it's not knit, it's made top down. So I could try it on as I went. So helpful. This is my first time crocheting a yoked sweater, so I really did want to be able to try it on as I went. I didn't want to guess. And yeah, large was the correct yoke size for me. But for the body, I didn't want the large size body. And I didn't really necessarily want the large size sleeves either. Like I wanted it to be basically no ease in the upper arm, and then just, you know, the straight sleeves. So I didn't necessarily want it to be size large everywhere else, but I wasn't really convinced either that the size medium was going to give me the ease that I wanted. I wanted some more ease than that. So I just chained, I did the number of chains for like joining, I guess the yoke for the armhole. I changed the number of chains that she has written in the pattern for a size medium, but that was combined with, you know, the number of little cluster stitches for the size large yoke. So I ended up making for the sleeves and for the body somewhere in between a medium and a large. It was probably in total, I can't remember exactly, but I think like it gave me another 2 to 3 inches of ease on the body, and then like maybe 2 inches of ease in the sleeves because of how many cluster stitches it increased with the yoke. And but then I didn't increase I think any really for like that chaining under the arm to then join for the body. So I hope that's not confusing. Basically, I crocheted the size large yoke and then chained as if I was going to be doing the size medium, and then just crocheted whatever number of cluster stitches was natural looking based on the number of chains that I made under the arms. So yeah, I made a little bit of a hybrid size because the medium was just not going to work for this, and I really wanted it to be a little bit more roomy for me in the body anyway. So it worked out great. I would make this exactly the same way next time as far as sizing. And I do want to make this again because it was really enjoyable to make, and it's so enjoyable to wear. It's very comfortable. All of the yarns that I used were a superwash merino or a superwash merino nylon blend. So it's very soft and cozy, but with the granny stitches, it's still pretty open and airy. So it's very wearable. It is crocheted with a DK weight yarn. So I mostly held fingering weight double. But I did have one skein that was a DK weight skein from Wandering Flock. That was this greenish minty color. It's the pistachio cream from Wandering Flock. Let's see. Yeah, super wearable. The only other modification that I made was I did knitted ribbing instead of the crocheted ribbing as written in the pattern. I don't like crocheted ribbing. It annoys me. I've done it many times now, and I have liked it exactly one time. And the reason that I liked it that one time is because I was crocheting headbands, which is very different than crocheting a ribbing on a garment, either applying it on or crocheting the ribbing and then picking up so that you can crochet the body of the garment from the ribbing. I'm not a fan at all. So I've crocheted a few garments now with ribbing and accessories like mittens, and I'm done. I'm not doing crocheted ribbing anymore. But it was so easy to pick up the stitches and just knit like a 1x1 rib. I did that for everywhere I needed ribbing. So you can see here, I think it looks very neat. Yeah, I think it looks very neat. I'm happy with how the ribbing turned out. So it was a 2x1 ribbing. I held my fingering weight double. I did write down what needle size. Did I write down what needle size I used for the ribbing? Good grief. I guess I'll figure it out again next time. I want to say, though, it was a US 6 needle. Maybe a US 5. It was either a US 5 or a US 6 needle for the knitted 2x1 ribbing. But yeah, so I did modify, I guess as we go through the list of modifications, I guess I modified quite a bit. But I'm just so incredibly pleased with it. I have worn it a couple of times now. And it doesn't look like I've worn it. I did get paint on the sleeve, but yeah, you can't even really see. That's what happens when you have a very colorful garment. It makes it hard to pick up on stains and things. So that's a perk. Is there anything else to say about it? I don't think so, but I'm making another one because this was an absolute joy. So much fun to make, so much fun to wear. The only thing I will do differently is I'll just make the body very slightly shorter because I'm pretty short-waisted and I have a lot of hip going on. So I don't really love it when my tops hit me right at the widest part of my body. Just for me, that's not my favorite look for myself. I like having them just up a little bit. Part of that is I actually like my hips and I don't want to hide them. So I don't want like my garment to like disguise it. So I don't know. I kind of like that about my body, and so that's kind of like how wearing clothes feels really like comfortable and like good for me. Yeah. Super, super great sweater. I would highly recommend this pattern. I actually got a book from Iron Lamb that here it is. I got this for Christmas and I cannot wait to try some of these patterns. This is going to be amazing. So this pattern is not in this book. This pattern is on Ravelry. But this book is just full of so many good things. She does have another yoke sweater in here. It's the festive jumper, and that might be my holiday sweater next year. Because how stinking cute is that? And everybody is making slipovers and vests right now. So let me show you this precious little number. Oh my gosh, she has so many good ones in here. I discovered my joy of granny stitch this year, and I've kind of just gone like buck wild with it. If you've been watching the podcast episodes like the last like 5 or so of them, then you've seen some granny stitch. Look how cute this is. This is called Tank Top, but you know, it's a vest. It's a slip over. And it's adorable. And I might be making one of those next. We'll see. So cute. Yeah, and I think most of the patterns in here are like a DK weight or somewhere around there. So they work up pretty quick. She's got a V-neck jumper. Like, seriously. It's Claudine Powley, and this girl's on fire. So cute. Yeah, I adore my granny go-round jumper. It's a fairly popular pattern, so you may have seen it before. But yeah, I am just a little bit obsessed with it. That's my finished object to share with you guys for today. I talked about that for a million years. So let's talk about my work in progress next. I'm also really hoping that there isn't like a glare on the camera. I think it's because of the angle of the light today. I did clean the lens and I did everything I could, but I don't know. I really hope it's not like fuzzy, and I hope that it just looks weird on my screen to me with the light filtering in. I'm not really sure, but I hope that the image quality is good for you guys today. So this next project I'm keeping in my Barley, I think this is a Barley Pearls bag. I feel like it has, yes, Barley Pearls. They are on Etsy. I love moths and I love bats. We have a bat house that we really need to put up. Yeah, it's got a pocket in here. Super cute. Stands up. It's structured, but it's, you know, crushable if you want to crush it, but it stands up very well on its own. This is kind of my favorite structure for a bag. I want it to sit next to me as if it's a little basket or a bucket. I don't really like it collapsing. I like it when they have like a nice interfacing and they stay kind of like up and open like this. This is a great bag. So Barley Pearls. Pearl is spelled P-U-R-L on Etsy. I've had this bag for maybe a couple years now, and I love it. So what I have in this bag is not the cowl that you're probably thinking of if you watched the last episode. I will talk about that cowl in a moment. I have a different cowl in here. So I have just seen so many of Andrea Mowry's Traveler collection. And she released recently the Traveler's Cowl, or Traveler Cowl, or Traveler's Cowl. It's completely adorable, and I have loved seeing everybody's versions of it. I don't think I've ever actually knit an Andrea Mowry pattern, but I decided I just really needed to knit this one. Let me see if I can pull up the pattern page for you so that you can see like what her version looks like, slash, I guess, potentially other people's versions, because you're not going to see, I'm not done yet. Traveler Cowl, Andrea Mowry. So it's Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits. Oh, this isn't Ravelry. It's it is her website, but that works. So here's the Traveler Cowl. You have probably seen it. This is probably not new information. Yeah, very, very cute. She did hers in her hand spun. Yeah, it's just extremely wearable and texturally, I think, very satisfying, but also highly wearable because it's stripes, but in texture. It just feels highly practical. And it's also both soothing and fun to knit, and kind of engaging. So this is what I've got so far for mine. And this is really mostly this actually is all that I've worked on since last time. I finished my jumper, and then I casted this on because I got sick. and I was going to cast on the other cowl, but it ended up being too complicated for my sick brain. I was sick for almost a week. So I wanted something very soothing, and I was like, it's time for the traveler cowl. So that's what I did, because this just felt like it was going to be a very soothing project. And yeah, that's all I really worked on. Because then after I was sick, I was really busy. I had a very busy work week this past week. So yeah, this is what I have worked on, and I love it. I'm holding 2 yarns double for this. The fingering weight yarn, this pattern is written for, I think it's adaptable for like basically any weight yarn, but it's kind of written for DK weight yarn. And so I'm holding a fingering weight double with a suri alpaca silk. This is the fingering weight that I am using. This is Knit Picks Hawthorne fingering in Burlingame. I don't know if they have this color anymore. I've had this in stash for 2 or 3 years. And I really liked it a lot, but I just really didn't know what to use it for, because I don't normally wear particularly saturated colors, I say, as I wear this. But you'll notice that a lot of this is not highly saturated. Like, these are like all pastels. These are the only 2 that are really saturated. That was actually one of the reasons why I was so excited about the sweater, is it gave me a project that I could use saturated colors in that I knew I would actually enjoy and wear. Because I don't really wear many highly saturated colors. I actually kind of enjoy working with them, so I like it when I'm knitting or crocheting for somebody else and they're wanting like something more saturated, but I find that in my wardrobe, I do not grab the saturated colored items. So this was just saturated enough that I was having a hard time figuring out what to do with it. But the colors are really beautiful. You can see it's primarily pink, but it's got some blue and some green, a little bit of purple, a little bit of gold. It's really a beautiful colorway. I decided to hold it double with La Bien-Aimee Kumo. Yeah, it's like a fingering, I would say like it's not exactly lace weight. I would say that for the alpaca, it like really translates into more of like a fingering weight. It's not quite like a sport weight, like a melted baby suri from Ching Fiber. I would say this really leans more fingering weight. Maybe light fingering, but I would not say it is like lace weight. The suri is just really fluffy. So this is Kumo by La Bien-Aimee in the Sansa colorway. So it's this extremely delicate blush pink. Yeah, and these 2 held double. This muted this just enough to give me something that I will actually wear. I think that's really, really beautiful. So you can still see all of these beautiful variegations in the fingering weight yarn in the Burlingame colorway. They are muted and toned down by that Sansa colorway. Really, really pretty. And the other thing was the Hawthorne fingering is a little bit more toothy. It is a soft yarn, but it's a little bit more toothy than like a normal superwash merino, but as you would think of it. The Hawthorne fingering might not be merino. It might be like Highland wool or something. I'm not actually positive. But it's a little toothier. And the ply on it is actually a little like, I mean, you can kind of see it's got that like kind of bumpy ply, and you can feel that in the texture of the yarn. So I really love that paired with this suri silk, because it's beautifully soft, but also beautifully textured. It's just very satisfying for all my sensory needs. I love this. And it also kind of gives just a tiny bit of that handspun vibe, because the marling that occurs with that really light Sansa, I don't know if that shows up great on screen, but it just gives a tiny bit of a handspun vibe too, between that kind of like bumpy pearly kind of like ply on the Hawthorne, and then it being kind of marled with the suri. I don't know. It gives me handspun vibes, which I love because I love this stitch pattern in a handspun. I think it's just really pretty. So the way that this will be worn is basically like this. So like this is kind of where I'm at. So I'm about halfway, a little over halfway. I'd say I'm a little over halfway, I think. Is this right? It's like this. Like this is like the point, although it's not, it doesn't have enough length. And then this is like where it's going to be seamed up, like on the side. So like we can like imagine this will be how it is. It's very warm. Oh my goodness. That is very warm, which is great because I wanted a very warm, cozy cowl. So super squishy. It's just wonderful. I really like the Traveler series. I thought about the Traveler shell, but I think that it's knit at a tighter gauge, or on a smaller needle. And I'm kind of in a phase right now where I'm like, I don't really want to knit on anything smaller than like a US 5. This is knit on a US 6, so 4mm needle. So yeah, this is 2 weeks, which is actually, this is taking me way longer than I think it normally would. But again, I was sick, and I had a really busy work week. There were a couple of days where I only knit for maybe 20 minutes. So I have not had tons and tons of knitting time, but that's okay. My hands probably need the break here and there. Actually, they almost certainly do, because crocheting this obsessively for a week was giving me like thumb and wrist stuff. So yeah, taking a little break for a couple weeks is probably very healthy for me. So that is my current work in progress. The other cowl that I mentioned to you guys last time, let me see if I've got a picture of it here so I can show you. Yeah, so this is the Break and Tide cowl by Tiff Neilan. Really beautiful, lots of texture. It's got a fisherman's rib, not brioche, even though I do love brioche. Yeah, beautiful cowl. I was gonna start that actually like right after the podcast last time, but that I was starting to get sick at about that time. And it's a 2-color cowl, and I want to knit it in 1 color. I'm gonna hold a like another suri silk double with a single ply fingering weight yarn. And for whatever reason, I just have not been able to translate all of the 2-color pattern stuff into 1 color. Thought it'd be a lot easier, but yeah, it's written kind of like brioche style for like color 1, row 1, color 2, row 1, then you flip, and then it's color 1, wrong side, color 1, or color 2, wrong side, and then you flip. So I was having a hard time like translating that into 1 color in my mind. So, and I don't know why. Maybe there's an extremely simple solution. That I've done lots of 2-color projects before in 1 color, so I don't know why this one is throwing me off so much, but I have some sort of mental block around it at this point. So what I've decided I'm going to do, instead of trying to translate the instructions, I am going to just split my my 2 balls of yarn in half and treated them as if it is a 2-color project. So I'm gonna just do like the instructions for color 1 and color 2, but I'm just gonna be using the same color for both, but I'll have them separated into their 2 little. So I will have 4 balls of yarn and I will be holding them double for each of them. I don't know if that's confusing the way that I said that, but that's how I'm kind of getting around that issue, because I just can't figure out another way to do it at this point. If you have a very quick, easy, simple way to do this that has not occurred to me, please share in the comments below. I would love to benefit from your wisdom. Somebody else might benefit from your wisdom too, because maybe somebody else has had this come up before. I don't know. I'm not really sure what my deal is. But that's the solution I've come up with. So I think I'd like to cast that on this week because it's that beautiful fuzzy peach color. And yeah, I'm excited about the Pantone color of the year with peach fuzz. And the two peach yarns I'm using for this are like truly, truly gorgeous shades of peach. So I'm excited about it. I think it'll be good. The upcoming project that I have, and maybe you guys can give me an opinion on this because I have swatched 4 or 5 times now, I think, for this, and I'm still not 100% convinced. So I'm wanting to do the Easy Like Sunday Morning sweater by, I think it's Pearl Soho. Let's see. Easy Like Sunday Morning. Normally I would have this stuff already like pulled up, but I have not. Okay, yeah, here it is. Easy Like Sunday Morning. Oh, it's by Sonder Yarn Company. Excuse me. Yeah, so Easy Like Sunday Morning by Sonder. Yeah, really beautiful. There's a fake ladybug in here. Yeah, I love the fit of this. It's very kind of like oversized. It's a great sweater. It's a popular pattern. Lots of people have knit it. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. Let's see. It is, they hold DK double with, it says halo. So I'm assuming that that is a mohair. I'm assuming that that is a mohair lace weight yarn. So I think they're trying to like get about a worsted weight ish. That it uses a 4.5 millimeter, 5 millimeter, and 6 millimeter, or US 7, 8, and 10 size needles. The body is knit with the US 10 or 6 millimeter, I believe. Yes. So I have loved this sweater for a long time. It's kind of been on my to knit list for a while, and I finally was like, oh, you're using a US 10 needle. Yes, please. I'm really enjoying these sweaters that I can just like pump out. Like a 1 week sweater is like my jam right now. So I've swatched several times. I have held a few different DK weight yarns double with a suri silk. I do not like highly marled things. I really like low contrast in general. So the suri silk that I had enough of for this project, it was like a deeper ballet pink, almost a mauve, and holding it double with all of the yarns I was holding it double with just gave too much contrast. Either the other yarn was too light or it was just too different of a color or whatever. So I kind of abandoned that. I was like, I don't have a yarn in stash that I can hold double with this suri. That's gonna give me like I liked the fabric, but I didn't love the color because I just don't like high contrast marling. I don't really like high contrast anything usually. So I had this in stash and I wanted to originally do this, but I didn't know if it would work because it's a worsted weight yarn. So I would not be holding it double with anything fuzzy, and I didn't know if that would work with this pattern because I didn't know if that would leave too much space in between the stitches, and if it really needed the fuzz from the mohair or the suri to really like fill in those gaps with fuzziness. I don't really know, and this is where I would really value your opinion. Yeah, so this is just a worsted weight yarn. It is Universal Yarn Deluxe Worsted Tweed. It's a superwash wool, 90% superwash wool, 7% acrylic, 3% viscose. And the colorway is Cloud Blue. And it's really beautiful. I really like this a lot. It's a wonderful tweed. And I think based on the size that I wanted to make, I think I have enough yarn. I'm pretty sure that the yardage was correct. Because I'll probably crop it a little bit, let's be honest. I have 3 of these. And then I also found this in stash. This is an upcycle alpaca blend from Knit Picks, the worsted weight in the Celeste colorway. So I thought I could kind of hold this with it. And that was low enough contrast that it's not going to bother me a whole lot if I just use it where I like really, really need it. So it's a folded over collar. So I think I could do like the folded over part that's going to be on the inside in that darker blue. And then whatever little, I could probably do like a little like tiny accent on like the sleeves. Not like a full cuff in that color. I think that'd be too much for me. But if I just did like a few rounds in that on the hem and then on the cuffs, like I think it would just give me just a little bit extra in case I needed some extra and I didn't have quite enough of this. We'll see. I swatched with it. First off, the yarn, it has broken probably 8 times in this swatch. In this tiny swatch, it has already broken 8 times. I don't know if I got like a ball of yarn that was just faulty, or like if it got snagged on something at some point. I don't have a problem with critters in my yarn stash. This is the first time I've ever had a ball of yarn do this, so I don't really know what the issue is. I haven't seen it in the last like few yards of it. So maybe, yeah, so maybe it just got snagged on something. Like in processing or like maybe even in the store that I bought it from. Yeah, because I don't see any other breaks in it. But yeah, like I'm losing a few yards, and not a huge amount, like it's only like that much, but still, that's kind of annoying. That's just unusable yarn, especially when I feel like I'm a little like, I'm going to be playing a tiny bit of yarn chicken with this one. But anyway, this is like my teeny swatch. I do not swatch correctly, obviously. This is a very tiny swatch. But I don't know. Is that fabric just going to be too open, especially after it's blocked? I don't know. Like maybe it'll puff up enough. I can't tell. Like I can see light through it when I hold it up to the light. I can see quite a bit of light through it. But like when I'm just like holding it flat like this, like you can't, it's not like see-through. I don't know. See, like it, I don't know, it might be okay. I don't even have to wind the ball into cakes or wind the yarn into cakes. It's already in these little onions. So maybe I should just cast it on and see what happens. And as I'm knitting it, if I'm just really not convinced, then I can just frog it. That might be what I do. But yeah, please let me know what your thoughts are about this, because I think that I think that the Easy Like Sunday Morning sweater in this yarn would look lovely. I love the soft blue. I love the natural tweed neps, the natural colored tweed neps. I think it'd be a sweater I would wear a whole lot based on the color scheme, but I don't know what kind of fabric it's going to be. This is one of those times where I wish that I could do more mohair. I have like fuzz. I wish I could do more mohair, but, and what do I have in my stash for? I mean, I have some mohair in stash, but not nearly enough. And I don't want to totally throw off the gauge either. Like it's already a worsted weight yarn and the pattern's kind of, I mean, it's basically written for a worsted weight because they're holding DK with a mohair. So holding a worsted with a mohair, it probably wouldn't make a gigantic difference, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? Again, I might just cast it on and see what happens, but I don't really love the idea of casting something on and then it not working and then me having to frog it. Although sometimes that's just the way of things. No time knitting is wasted time. It's all delightful knitting. So I shouldn't think of it as wasting my time. So those are my projects. Oh, I have another finished object of sorts to share with you though. I've got some more hand spun. I spun this up last week and then dried it and finished it and everything. Like washed it, dried it, finished it. It's got a little fuzz escaping. But I really enjoyed this. This is by one of my very favorite fiber prep people. It is Wound Up Fiber Arts in her sock, her super sock base, which is a 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon blend. This is the Random Thoughts colorway. She has shop updates. Is it every week or every 2 weeks? But she has fairly regular shop updates, and her colorways are beautiful. Her fiber prep is one of my very favorite fiber preps. I feel like the yarn basically just spins itself. It's prepped really beautifully, and it's ridiculously soft. This yarn, I don't think that the English language has words for how soft and fluffy and buttery and cloud-like it is. It's real good. So this is going to be one that I end up selling because this is not a colorway that I would work with myself, but I had a lot of fun spinning it. So this will go into my stock or my inventory. Yeah. And I really loved it. It's super soft. It's so soft and fluffy. Yeah, I can't describe how soft and fluffy it is. Oh, and so it also smells really nice because the wool wash that I used, I think was like a jasmine. I think it was like a eucalyptus and jasmine. So the specs on the finished yarn were it's 197 yards and 8 wraps per inch. So that puts it at about a category 4 medium weight kind of yarn. So like maybe like a worsted-ish. Yeah, super lovely. I'm real excited about this. Right now I'm spinning some alpaca fiber that I prepped myself. There's an alpaca farm nearby, and I'm doing kind of like a trade-off with them where they just give me the fiber from their animals totally raw for free, and I just process and spin half of it for them for their shop, and then I do whatever I want with the other half. So yeah, that means that I have to like wash the fiber and comb it and card it, you know, put it into Rolex, bats, roving, whatever, spin it, and then, yeah. So I'm spinning some alpaca for the farm right now. And I should be able to show that to you guys next time. The fiber that I'm spinning for them at the moment is like a lovely kind of like fawn color, so like a very light golden tan. It's really pretty. The alpaca that it came from is, her name is Tiny Dancer, which I just think is so sweet. So that's good. I have 2 of their alpacas blankets. I have Tiny Dancer's blanket from last spring's shearing, and then I have, oh, it's their Gorgeous Boy. He's actually the one that I wanted a blanket from the most. And I think I have his first shearing, so it's really beautifully soft fiber. Yeah, it's beautiful. So he's got like a rosy gray coloring. It's gorgeous. That yarn is going to be like magical. But I'm spinning up some of Tiny Dancer's first. So that's it on the finished objects, works in progress, that sort of stuff front. Real quick, I'm going to share with you guys my plans for this year, and then I'll share a couple books that I got, and then like a little zippy pouch that just came in the mail this morning. And when I opened it, I was like, ooh, I have to share it with my fiber friends. And then I want to share another craft with you all. But for my goals or my plans for this year, this is my making journal. So this is where I keep all of my notes. The journal, I think I just got at Target, and then these were stickers that I had gotten from various places that are yarny. So I really like my maker's journal, but I've only got this many pages left. So I've got some other journals that I think will be next year's. New one. This, I think, is the 3rd year I'll be using this one. So it's lasted quite a while, but I mean, you can see it's got a lot of pages. So I'd considered making a separate video that had like my favorite makes of 2023 and my plans for 2024. I went through my handmade wardrobe and I was just like, there are too many things that I made last year. For one, I made a lot of stuff, and then I was having a very hard time not showing like my top 20 favorites. And that just feels like too many things. So maybe I'll make other videos where like I show you my favorite sweaters, my favorite hats, my favorite shawls, my whatever. Maybe I'll do a few videos like that, but I decided I'm not going to show you my favorite makes of 2023 unless you just really want me to. And in that case, please comment below the video and let me know. But I will share with you my 2024 plans because I really like them this year. My biggest kind of thing is really using stash, and not necessarily just because I have a whole lot of stash and it's becoming overwhelming. I do have a lot in stash, and it is at the point where it could start becoming overwhelming, and I just don't want it to be. I want my stash to bring me joy, not stress. So it's partially that, but then it's also, I bought all this yarn for a reason. I really, really like it, and I'm not getting to use it if I keep buying other yarn that I really like. And there will always be more yarn that I love. So as the year is kind of going through, we're in February now. We're right at the beginning of February, but I'm like passing up on opportunities to buy yarn that I know that I would love. But I know that there will be more yarn that I will love next year. So I'm not too worried about it. And I didn't put myself on like a no buy for the year or anything. I will buy yarn this year. I bought 4 skeins of yarn in January because someone was having a de-stash, and it was yarn I really, really wanted, and that is hard to find at a discounted price. I got the Ching Fiber Melted Baby Suri Alpaca yarn for like less than half of the price that it normally is. So I love that yarn. And the reason I don't knit with it more is because it's a little cost prohibitive for me. So yeah, I took advantage of that when I saw that opportunity. But these are my rules for myself, or guidelines for myself, to kind of like help me enjoy the stash that I have, because I really love my stash and I really want to use these yarns. And I've already used, how many skeins did I use in January? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I used 18 skeins in January. So I'm already working through the stash and I'm already kind of like noticing a difference and feeling like a little bit lighter, which is great. So yeah, I had like a net negative of 14 for January because I bought 4 skeins of yarn in January. So yeah, negative 14 skeins for January. Huzzah. But I'm not doing like a huge dramatic stash down. Again, I'm just wanting to enjoy what I have. And I had a whole lot of fun buying yarn for the last couple of years, and that was really exciting and really fun for me. Now I'm going to focus my enjoyment on the stash that I have. And that's pretty much it. So my guidelines for myself are enjoy my stash, play with the yarn that I have, because that's how I kind of think of it, is I'm playing with yarn. Like these are my toys. I'm an adult child and these are my toys and I want to play with them. So I wanted to do that. And one of the ways I'm going to do that is I'm only buying yarn in person unless it is a very specific or very special kind of purchase. So for example, I want to crochet some overall shorts for the spring and the summer. So that'll probably happen in the next like month or two. I'll probably start that project because it'll take me a bit. And I don't know if I have the yarn that I need to do that project. but it's a project that I've been wanting to do for over a year. So, and I really feel like motivated to do it this year. I really want to crochet some really cute overall shorts. And I already bought the pattern for it. And I already have a color scheme in mind and everything. I don't think I have the yarn in stash for it. So I'll probably end up purchasing the yarn specifically for that project. So that's like an example of where I might purchase some yarn versus use what I have in stash. If I really have a project I really, really, really want to make, and none of the yarn that I have is going to work for it, then I'll buy the yarn for it. It'd be great if I could buy it in person, but I can order it online if I need to. So that's an example. And then also, like, if there is a super, super special collection that I just really like resonate with, or one of my very favorite dyers that like I know and I trust, and I've gotten a lot of their stuff before, and I know that I love their stuff. If they're releasing something very special, limited edition or something that I really love, and I know I'm going to use, then maybe I can get that too. But like, those are just very like special kind of purchases. I don't really imagine I will have very many of those at all this year. I've already passed up, a few of my favorite dyers releasing special collections because it wasn't special enough for me. Even though I loved the colorway, I loved the theme, I enjoyed seeing the pictures on Instagram, and that's how I enjoyed that yarn. And I'll enjoy seeing people knit it up. But I don't necessarily need to own it in my physical hands. So those are a few exceptions. But again, I don't anticipate that those will happen very often at all, just maybe a few times this year. I want to buy yarn in person, partially because that limits me. It makes it harder to do impulsive online shopping when I am sad or bored or sleepy. And also I do like being able to like see the yarn in person and touch it and feel it and play around with the bounciness, like all that kind of stuff. It's very helpful. I have ordered enough yarn online now to know that sometimes the yarn that I get is not the yarn I thought I was ordering. That doesn't mean it isn't beautiful yarn. It just means that it was not what I thought that I was ordering. So then I find myself kind of a little stressed because I spent a bit of money on this hand-dyed yarn that now I'm not really sure. I'm sorry for the interruption. My camera turned off because I ran out of storage space. I had forgotten to delete the videos from the last podcast from my recently deleted folder, so still in there taking up storage space. Sorry about that. Hopefully I can edit these two bits together and it'll be fine. Yeah, so basically ordering online has not always worked super well for me. For the most part, it's been perfectly fine. And especially with those dyers that I've ordered from several times, and I know consistently I love their product and I know what to expect. That's fine. But yeah, I really want to emphasize buying in person so that I know the yarn that I'm buying. So I can go to local yarn shops. It also makes like yarn buying a little bit more exciting. Like if I kind of limit myself, it makes it a little bit more special for me. So it's more exciting when I get to go to a yarn shop because maybe I haven't bought yarn in like a month or two, and I haven't like experienced new yarn in a couple months. Okay, I hope this works. I don't know why it keeps saying that my storage is full because I've deleted stuff. So yeah, in person purchases in yarn shops, at yarn festivals or fiber festivals. That way I can really like fully engage with them more. It can be more exciting. I know what yarn that I'm getting. And it's just also like, it makes it easier to not do impulsive yarn purchases. I know what's coming into my stash. Also, I'm stashing down a bit, all of that. So, all right, I like shut it down and restarted it. So hopefully that will help. Hopefully this isn't too choppy and annoying. So yeah, not doing online purchases, only buying in person. That's the main kind of plan. My other plan for the year is to really emphasize spinning. So I'm going to be because I love working with my hand spun. I've knit a couple of things now with my hand spun, and it's just been a real joy. So I really want to emphasize working through my stash of fiber and doing a lot of hand spun because I do love spinning. Prepping fiber, I'm doing the stuff with the farm now, so making time to really like engage with that the way that I want to, and then building up my stash of my own hand spun yarn so that I can knit with more of my hand spun yarn because it's really, really delightful to knit with. And then of course, getting to like, sell whatever skeins are not colorways that I would necessarily use, but I want to play with those colors for a bit while spinning them. So those are the two kind of main plans for this year, emphasizing spinning and only buying yarn in person so that I can enjoy my stash more and be more intentional and have more control over, I guess, too, what's coming into my stash. I'll show you the pouch that I got in the mail this morning. This is from Duluth Trading Company, and it's just precious. It is large enough to fit 2 skeins of yarn into, so I think that this very easily could be a 1 skein project bag, but it could also be a 2 skein project bag, potentially, just depending. It's so cute. It's a very thick, sturdy canvas, and then it's got this beautiful garden gnome embroidered on it, and I am super pleased. I guess it could also hold supplies and things, but I always tend to think of all of my bags in terms of, oh, this could be a project bag. I don't know if I'm going to share my books and things with you because I don't want my device to turn off again. It's been choppy enough, so I'm just going to finish with another craft that I've picked up in the last couple weeks. This past summer, I bought some gouache paints because I really wanted to try painting gouache. I love the idea of painting, but most painting mediums have not really worked for me very well. So I was like, gouache looks amazing. I really like the sound of the characteristics that it has. I think I want to try painting with gouache. And I didn't get around to it until this past week. So a week ago, I swatched with my gouache paints that I bought this past summer. It took me 6 or 7 months to use them. I swatched with them, and then I painted my first little painting. And then this morning, I painted a second painting. This is my new gouache painting sketchbook. It is a mixed media sketchbook from Hobby Lobby. And then I have added washi tape and then this really cute pink praying mantis sticker, some scrapbooking paper. I painted the spine. I'll probably add some more stuff to this as well, but this is just kind of what I did to it this morning. But yeah, I really like this actually a lot. I've gotten some other sketchbooks for painting from like Joanne and Michaels and stuff, and I have not liked those nearly as much. This one has worked much better for me. I like the paper. Nothing is flimsy or falling apart, so it's working pretty well for me. And it's the mixed media paper. These are my swatches from my gouache paint. It dries matte, as you can see. So these are all of the paint colors in my palette. I got the Hemi palette that's on Amazon. It's very popular. This is my very first gouache painting that I did last weekend. I don't know what I'm doing. I am not a painter, but apparently I'm a painter now because I'm painting, but I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, so that's my very first gouache painting. I just watched somebody paint something on YouTube and kind of tried to copy what they were doing. And then this I painted this morning just based on a picture that I saw. So I had to really like think through the process of how I was going to translate what that picture was into a painting. But this was my painting from this morning. It is not perfect. There are a few things that I would have changed. One part of it, I got startled because the dog started barking at someone at the door. Part of it, I just needed to learn about gouache and my brushes. But I really like it for my second gouache painting. And I haven't looked at any tutorials really yet or done any lessons or anything. So, oh my goodness, I've just deleted several more things. We'll see if that does the trick. But we're going to wrap it up in a minute. So I haven't really learned anything about gouache yet. I maybe watched 1 2-minute video just to kind of learn more about the paint itself. But that was about it. So I really need to like learn, or I really want to learn, because I'm really enjoying the paint. I'm finding it a lot more intuitive to work with than other paints that I've tried. So I think that I really like gouache as a medium. So I ordered this book about a week ago, and it arrived this morning. I had already painted my little plants, and then about 10 minutes later, this arrived at the front door. So this is a used copy that I ordered, which I was happy to find a used copy. It's the Get Started with Gouache by Emma Block. Yeah, Emma Block. And it's got a whole bunch of lessons in it. So this is going to be really, really handy to me. I do like some of her painting style is not necessarily my painting style exactly, but I think the lessons are going to be really helpful for like how the color works and how to layer and how to work with negative space and all of that kind of stuff. And she's got stuff around color theory in here, which is always nice, and information's about the different types of gouache paints. So I think that this will be really, really useful as a learning tool. I don't think I'm going to mimic her style when I'm painting my own things, but for lessons, I'm very happy to, yeah, I couldn't find a lesson book that was like exactly my style. Like I want to do like loose impressionist, like landscapes. And then, I do like still life for some things. I really like doorways, and buildings, but I don't necessarily think that I would paint them exactly the way that she does. So we have a little style difference, but that's, I think, totally fine because I can develop style on my own and then also learn it from other people. But as far as actually learning how to paint with gouache, I think this looks like a really good resource. I flipped through it this morning. It looks great. It's got all the basic techniques first, and then it takes you through different categories of things to paint with different lessons. So like plants and flowers, food, animals, people, objects, and places. So that's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that. So yay, new hobby. Did I need a new hobby? I don't know. As long as I'm not just collecting a bunch of hobbies that I never actually do, I think it's fine. If I have a handful of hobbies that I actually do and enjoy, then I think that works great. And I think that our creativity really does benefit from having several different mediums. Even though fiber is my first love, I've always loved the idea of painting, and I've really enjoyed getting to play around with the gouache paint. So I will save my other book acquisitions for next time because I don't want to run out of storage space all over again. I'm going to figure out that issue before the next episode so that we don't have this interrupted choppy thing again. Apologize for that. But yeah, I'll share those books next time. And also this episode is long enough already. So thank you so much for joining me this week. I got a couple suggestions from you guys for videos that you would like to see in the future. So thank you so much. You guys had some really good ideas. If you have any ideas this week, please let me know. And I'm going to compile a list of the ones that seem like they'd be fun for me. And I will start making some videos for you guys that are not just the podcast episodes, but kind of more like special topics and stuff. Yeah. I think the rest of my day is going to be baking and cooking and laundry. I feel like there's something else that I need to do. I'm going to the grocery store, but I might do some spinning and some knitting too. Maybe I'll cast on my peach break and tide cowl today. It's beautiful, so I really do want to cast it on soon. Or maybe I'll cast on this sweater that I'm feeling sketchy about. We'll see. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and that you find a lot of peace and joy in your crafting. I will see you guys next time. Bye.